just see what the Jesuits have to say.
Yes.
I always like to know, what do they have to say? Not conspiracy. This is their webpage. This is their magazine, America, the Jesuit Review. Who goes first? The ethics of distributing a COVID-19 vaccine. I always like to know how these people think. Remember, their whole ideology is to follow the hierarchy and to have no mind of your own.
Correct.
Let's read what they say. A persistent anti-vaccination minority in the United States. I wonder whether it is a minority.
True. It's when do you classify a minority?
On what basis?
Yeah, when is it a minority? So is 5 million a minority?
Well, whatever. If it is a minority, they better come right, according to these people. So a persistent anti-vaccination minority in the United States, along with many people's unwillingness to adopt simple measures to prevent spreading the virus, underscores the challenges ahead. A vaccine program is concerned with the health of the community, and that should be important for any Christian. Americans often focus on individual health, but vaccines are essential for our health. Can you see how they're moving it in the direction of the collective?
Yes, common good.
Common good.
Oh, there it is.
For the good of the community. There we have it.
There we go.
Common good theology. Who defines common good? They do.
Yes.
Of course, particularly in the United States, there will be those who will not want to be vaccinated. Particularly if your theology, of course, is such that you consider this the possible mark of the beast.
Yes.
With the nanotechnology and all of those things. Just as there are those who refuse to wear face coverings in public and argue for the right to be left alone. But we should remember that public health cannot be solely concerned with the rights of the individual. So your individual rights must be curtailed according to their thinking. We can respect free choice, but free choices have consequences. Healthcare does not fall neatly into the spheres of public and private behavior. The COVID-19 outbreak is a reminder to Americans that healthcare cannot be understood completely as a private good. Common good?
Yes.
There's no such thing as a private good. And that in solidarity with others, each of us has a responsibility to work for a common purpose. They're clever. They're trying to avoid the word common good so that it doesn't seem so obvious.
Yeah.
This is a public health crisis, and we need to understand a potential vaccine as an obligation for oneself and for society. So are they advocating force?
Yes. And are they advocating for the vaccine?
Yes.
Definitely.
Both of them. Both of them. Now, it's interesting that those who were trained at Jesuit colleges also have this mindset, right? Obviously. But I find it fascinating that they also have this mindset that as far as the protests and disruptions are concerned, they do not definitely want to condemn it because they are the instigators of revolutions and wars and calamities in the world. So let's just look at what happened in this discussion with the master behind the COVID-19 measures.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Fauci, do protests increase the spread of the virus?
I think I can make a general statement.
Well, 500,000 protesters on June 6th alone.
Yeah.
I'm just asking, that number of people, does it increase the spread of the virus?
Crowding together, particularly when you're not wearing a mask, contributes to the spread of the virus.
Should we limit the protesting?
I'm not sure what you mean. How do we say limit the protesting?
Should government limit the protesting?
I don't think that's relevant to...
Well, you just said if it increases the spread of the virus, I'm just asking, should we limit it?
Well, I'm not in a position to determine what the government can do in a forceful way.
Well, you make all kinds of recommendations. You,
No.
you make comments on dating, on baseball, on everything you can imagine. I'm just asking you. You just said that protests increase the spread. I'm just asking you, should we try to limit the protests?
No, I think I would leave that to people who have more of a position to do that. I can tell you,
Government stopping people from going to church, Dr. Fauci,
yeah.
but no limit to protests. But boy, you can't go to church on Sunday.
I don't know how many times I can answer that. I'm not going to opine on limiting anything. I'm just going to tell you.
You've opined on a lot of things, Dr. Fauci.
Yeah, but I've never.
This is something that directly impacts the spread of the virus, and I'm asking your position on the protest.
Yeah, I'm not going to opine on limiting anything. I'm telling you what it is, the danger, and you can make your own conclusion about that. You should stay away from crowds, no matter where the crowds are.
Government has stopped people from going to work. Actually running their business, they got arrested. You think that's okay?
You know, I'm not going to opine on who gets arrested and who does not. I mean, you get where I'm going. I'm telling you, as a public health official, I say crowds.
Do you see the inconsistency, though, Dr. Fauci?
There's no inconsistency, Congressman.
So you're allowed to protest millions of people on one day in crowds yelling, screaming, but you try to run your business, you get arrested? And if you stood right outside of that same business and protested, you wouldn't get arrested? You don't see an inconsistency there?
I don't understand what you're asking me as a public health official to opine on who should get arrested or not. That's not my position. You could ask me as much as you want,
advocated for certain businesses. You've advocated for certain businesses to be shut down. I'm just asking you on your position on the protest. And we know the protest actually increased the spread of the virus. You've said that.
I said crowds. I didn't say specifically. I didn't say protest do anything.
So the protests don't increase the spread of the virus?
I didn't say that. You're putting words in my mouth.
No, I just want an answer to the question. Do the protests increase the spread of the virus?
I don't have any scientific evidence that anything. I can tell you that crowds are known, particularly when you don't have a mask, to increase the acquisition and transmission. No matter
so
what.
So you don't have a position on whether the protests increase the spread of the virus or don't increase the spread of the virus?
I'm saying that crowds, wherever the crowds are, can give you an increased probability that there's going to be acquisition and transmission.
But do you understand Americans' concern?
I don't think we have to say anything. It's just interesting to see how he treads water.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to admit that the protests could be a problem, so he tries to skirt the issue.